Hello everybody and welcome to this amazing top 5 list of my favorite gods in Smite for the 2015 roster. It's finally time for the Smite World Championships and this year I'm going. So I won't be here for an entire week. I return on Tuesday, which means that I have a lot of downtime to make some quick videos for. So here's the first video to start the week. I wanted to complement my previous list videos with my favorite gods since I did a least favorite gods. With the changes to the roster over the last year, Smite has some incredible new gods, and it has drastically changed my opinion of who was my favorite at the start of last year. Rules for this list are pretty simple. These are just my favorite gods. Any god from the 2015 roster of Smite. They don't have to have been released in 2015, but they had to have been on the roster of Smite during 2015. They don't also have to be for Joust only. They are my favorite gods, whether it's for fun, their design, or even just the lore. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste any more time. Number 5.
Guan Yu.
To start this list, we begin with a god that I never thought I would have seen in Smite when I first started this game. Guan Cena! Or just Guan Yu. Yeah, that works. Honestly, I love the lore of Guan Yu since it actually has to do with some real history. The love for this god mainly comes from another game, Dynasty Warriors. While playing that game, I had gotten into the history of the Three Kingdoms, and with that being said, I have poured more hours than I'm willing to admit into the entire series of that game. God, I love that game. Guan Yu may not have been my most played character from the game, but he is among some of my favorites, which that could be a list for another time. However, I'm sure I'd love any god from the Dynasty Warriors series if they also made it into Smite, but being that Guan Yu's kind of like this rare exception, I'll just take with what I'm given. So anyways, the only reason that Guan isn't higher on this list is mainly due to his kit. I don't play a very supportive role when I'm on a team, and Guan Yu is actually a very supportive warrior. Though yes, he could dish out the damage, he is more or less there to support as a physical god. An AoE heal that provides cooldowns when healing an allied god, or his Talu Assault which provides the armor reduction that allows allies to deal more damage. And then finally a horse. I mean, look at his horse. It's pretty amazing. Give it a lick. Ooh, I hope it tastes just like raisins. With the Guan Yu losing some of its kit when playing on the battlefield of Joust, such as the cooldown from his heal, I still like to take him for a spin and try my best. Though usually ends poorly, he just is really fun to play, though he might not be the most viable in Joust. Number 4. Ah yes, overpowered Joust god, not broken by any means, but Habois is definitely up there in the gods you should consider banning. He isn't the most difficult god to pick up, and he has a very safe kit. His abilities deal tons of ridiculous damage, and are on some of the lowest cooldowns on mages that I know of. Sure, he isn't the strongest in Conquest due to the radius of his abilities being comparatively small, but it's all about that packing a punch part, right? I admit that since water is my favorite element, Habois gets an amazing amount of bias on this list. Not to mention, he does provide his opponents with some sick nipple twisting every 3 seconds. You can't get sick of that, really. You just can't. Back in Season 1, Habois was very powerful as he was, and then he got buffed in Season 2 to make him more viable in Conquest. This made him an amazing threat in Joust, like he already wasn't unstoppable, but now he kind of is. His carpet now provides him with an anti-slow for him and his team. But thankfully the new meta for Joust has been hunters, and that shuts him down pretty hard. I mean, crits hit really, really hard. Like Habois killing hard. But overall, Habois is just an enjoyable god to play, and has a kit that I enjoy regardless of the mode I play. Though sadly due to his strong presence you won't see me play him very often. He isn't banned too often either, however I tend to try to avoid playing the popular high tier gods in Joust and learn the lesser gods first. Number 3. Geb. Oh man, where would I be without Geb? This beautiful chunk of earth is by far my favorite guardian and one of the most fun Joust gods for me. Though he is not viable at all in Joust, it is an absolute blast to goof around with him. Also, I never play him like I should. Instead, Geb is here to welcome you to the Gebifiers. I mean, if there's anything I needed answered, Geb has the perfect answer for everything. Fighting Ymir in Joust? Punch him in the face. Tower in your lane? Punch it in the face. Phoenix thinking it's gonna do something? Also, punch it in the face. Titan standing in the way of victory? Punch it in the nards. There isn't much else to say when you have to Geb other than, if you have to Geb, punch them in the face. With that being said, his kit is just generally really fun and surprisingly powerful. Though he does a bit of burst damage, it's a shame his ultimate actually lacks the ability to kill. A true shame. Number 2.
Kairi.
Look, Ma, I'm a horse! Galloping into number 2 is one of the new gods, Kairi. Upon his release, I didn't think too much about him until I got to play him, and then I loved him. A large group of players would complain that he was broken, however I felt he was perfectly balanced. He was not displaying any overly powered abilities on his release, except for his true damage glitch, which was patched up pretty quick. Unlike some gods. Yeah, that's right, Medusa. I'm looking at you. When playing him, he is a bit unique in his kit and is probably one of my favorite new solo lane gods when I conquest. He fits my playstyle almost perfectly. His dash allows me to place myself in favorable positions within a battle while also playing as a defensive tool to interrupt my opponent, especially when getting ganked by the damn jungler, Serket. And Serket is probably one of the more annoying junglers to run into, but it isn't that bad with Kairi. A well-timed dash after she leaps towards you puts enough distance between you and her to most likely escape. Not to mention, he can continue to attack while dashing and even fill the more supportive role on a team. And his voice pack isn't something to joke about either. I get rather giddy when I hear something like Sean Connery come in and tell me,
It seems my sticks have broken your stones, eh?
if you know what he means. Number 1.
Poseidon.
Really? You don't say. Didn't you guys see it coming? I mean, sure, in my other lists, the first spot was quite the plot twist. However, here it's pretty simple. It's a water god with a movement-based kit. And you had me at water. Very much like Habois, there is some extreme bias here due to water just being my thing. And you might ask, well, what about time? I got all the time to say, go to hell, Kronos. Go to hell. I'll never love you. Everything with Poseidon just fits me. First, my favorite stat in this game is the underrated movement speed stat. Poseidon has 2 buffs in his kit which affect his stat, making him a very speedy character. And normally, you don't get that from mages, but Poseidon is definitely one of them. Next, he doesn't focus as hard in his basic attacks like Kronos or Freya, but he can still dabble a little bit, allowing him to be more attack speed oriented than other mages, and still be effective. The method to his combo isn't too difficult either, and he isn't an extremely hard god to pick up, but has tricks that allow you to play at a higher skill level as long as you get to know him. Poseidon is also a very familiar god to me from his lore, as I used to take several mythology classes when I was in high school. I even have some of my old mythology books still. Poseidon comes up a lot in those books. I like that. I like Poseidon, and that's why he's here. Nothing much more to say than that than childhood. In this in-game kit, he's also pretty awesome, and the elemental water just makes Poseidon my number 1 for this list. I want to thank you all for watching. Did a god not make my favorites list that you love? Or do we share some of the same favorites? And what gods do you guys like? Let me know in the comments below. Your lists from my previous list video were very interesting and I read every last one of them. So let me know what your lists are, or if you agree or disagree with mine, being these are my opinions. I also want to give you guys a very special thanks for all the support you've given me. I'll now be at the Smite World Championships upon you guys reading this, or at least I won't be home, so I know that they also don't start till Thursday, and this one uploaded on Wednesday morning, but I have to get there a bit early since I have to travel. So yeah, until then, I will have some moderately interesting videos coming out while I'm gone, since they're just kind of scheduled to pop up. So they're probably not the greatest due to the time restraints I had to get the videos done, and I was cramming a lot. But I have over 500 videos on this channel, and if you guys could go check that out and help support the channel while I'm gone, that would be amazing. So there's also should be another video coming out about meeting me at the Smite World Championships if you're going to be there. I would love to catch you guys and get some pictures and maybe hang out for a while. because I have no idea what I'm doing there, so the maybe hanging out is something I might really want to do. Anyways, thank you all for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, good game!